Welcome to your Joyful Life Podcast, Episode 10. I'm one of your hosts, Evan Weinberg, and together with Michael Fall, we're going to be talking today about why accepting that you create your reality is terrifying. Also note that we had an audio issue you'll hear about halfway through. The quality drops off a bit, but it's fine to listen to. You'll also hear some running water at one point. We definitely thought the mics wouldn't pick that up, but they absolutely did. We think we figured out the issue and should be back to full quality next week. Now let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to your Joyful Life Podcast. This is episode 10, and today we are talking about fear. And the reason I wanted to talk about fear was in our last episode, we talked about the miracle that we are and us as the creators of our experience. And what has come up for me more and more recently as I sort of come to accept that idea more and more is, holy shit, that's terrifying.
Yeah, isn't it?
It is much less scary to believe that the world is happening around me and to me. And even though I may not like a lot of the things that are happening, the economy and my career and global politics and global warming, and there's a lot of bad things happening. But if I'm not responsible for them or for fixing them, I can delegate responsibility to someone else.
Yes, I think what you're saying is it's easier to blame others for how you feel than to take responsibility for how you feel.
Yeah, and even not so much about how I feel, because I am bought into the understanding that I am creating my own internal experience.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, if I'm upset or bothered about something, as of pretty recently, if I stop and think about it, maybe not in the moment, but I can accept that, I am creating this turmoil inside of myself has nothing to do with what's happening outside.
Yeah, it's quite a newsflash, isn't it?
Yeah. But the idea that I can create a different experience out there, which is what we were pointing to last time, that's scary. So, because what would I create? What if I get it wrong? What if people blame me? What if I don't have a good idea? What if
What if
I screw it all up even worse?
What if?
The history is and the present are full of examples of people who believed what they were doing was the right thing to be doing and caused a lot of suffering for themselves and for sometimes lots of other people. So there is a lot of responsibility that comes with accepting that you're the creator of your experience. And in this sort of small version that we talked about last time, which is in a given situation,
right,
I can point my attention to a better part of that experience and make it so if I'm in a fight with someone, I can point my attention to gratitude or something like that and kind of ease my way to a better interaction. That's easy to understand and typically doesn't cause more suffering. But the idea that I can have an impact on the world is scary. And I was curious how you think about that. Maybe we'll start there. Yeah. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't. I think our impact on the world is in some ways more indirect than we think.
Okay.
If I can be more or less fear-free in my experience in the way that I comport myself in day-to-day life, then I think that ripples outward. Is that going to change something halfway across the world? No. Does that matter? Maybe not. To come back to sort of this original thought about the fear of the realization that we're a creative power, or that we're the creators of our experience, I think the fear is that, or at least for me, the fear was I can no longer play the victim card.
Right.
Ever. Under any circumstances. Because I'm making up my experience in the moment. So, having an argument with my wife, my responsibility. Upset about the world at large, my responsibility. Not to fix what's out there, but to fix what's in here, to fix what's in me. And that was terrifying at first. It's like, it's a lot of power to hand a mere human.
Right.
Right. What do you mean I'm in charge of how I feel? What do you mean I'm in charge of the creation of my experience moment to moment? So I don't know, when you think about a larger impact, I don't know what that looks like. It's not, honestly, it's not something I spend too much time on. I think that I do believe that we are connected to a greater consciousness. We are a greater consciousness. I think that my responsibility as one aspect of that greater consciousness is to express myself as joyfully, as fully, whatever the word is, as I can.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what's left to do after that. If when I'm focused on, when I am able to embrace fully my ability as a creative force, if you will, the lives of people around me tend to be better. And it's not because I'm doing anything for them, and I might be, but it's where I'm coming from internally that seems to make the difference, right? So, how do we impact the world? I think by one individual at a time coming to a deeper understanding of what it means to be conscious on the planet. Right? Like, and then, getting over the, oh shit, you mean,
Right.
You mean I can't blame my bank account? You mean I can't blame the weather? You mean I can't blame my wife? You mean everything is an inside out creation? And I think you have to caveat that a little bit, caveat a little bit by saying, we acknowledge that we live in a real world out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes the world punches you in the face.
Yeah.
And there's no denying that. Accidents are called accidents because sometimes you get hit by a car. I got hit by a car. I got hit by a car. If that had left me fearful of getting hit by a car and lived my entire life that way, that is my responsibility.
Right.
So in any given moment, the world may drop something on your foot. But, after the split second of reaction, everything else after that is up to us. And that's, when I kind of started to see this stuff, so 10 years ago now, that was terrifying. Like really that I can't blame, my experience, my feeling state is mine, is my dominion. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, no more training wheels for you.
Right.
Have fun out there.
Nest,
That's right. Here's a bush. Have fun out there now. See how it goes.
Okay. That's really helpful. I think I realized when I was listening to you, I think I sort of jumped. I did a scope jump. So
Right.
Yeah, I agree completely that kind of level one is, my current state in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I have control over that. And there is that lack of, I can't blame anyone else, that something is coming in and it might be the most horrific thing imaginable. It's understandable to have a moment of suffering from that. But after that first moment, you are in charge of that experience. And I think we mentioned this in a previous episode, but if anyone listening is having resistance to this idea, but it's really bad, think back to bad things that happened years ago. You'll probably be able to find examples of how those were actually growth opportunities. At the time I thought that was the worst thing that had happened to me. Turns out, I got a better job or met a better partner or overcame this thing or
Yeah, that's
started
right.
a nonprofit,
Yeah.
whatever. The worst things that happen to us are catalysts for growth and
Absolutely.
change and creation. So
Absolutely.
it's hard to see that in the moment, but what we're pointing to is it is possible to shift your thinking, which will shift your feeling, which will let you process that in a more holistic way. So I get what you're saying that,
Yeah.
scary but possible to take responsibility for that experience, or at least to understand it's not, it's never the case where you don't have responsibility. The thing happens to you.
Yeah.
That's not your responsibility, but your response to it always is.
Yeah, the before and after is your creation, your agency.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I get that point. And then I guess my question was, now that I have this understanding,
Right.
the place, and you sort of mentioned this, like the place I'm acting from. So the first thing we're talking about is a response to something else,
Right. Yeah.
right? So something happens, I can respond to it with that responsibility that,
Well, there seems to be an immediate response, right?
yes,
So there's you get punched in the face and there's a response.
yes.
Okay, now what? I guess is the question, right?
Right. So I would say that now what, and maybe this is just a sort of a time scaling thing, but like in the moment. So if somebody hits me, the next now what is going to be like, get out of there, protect myself, that situation. What I was thinking of is like, I wake up in the morning and nothing is going on.
Right.
I have this understanding that I have the responsibility and power to create my experience. What am I going to do with my day, week, month, life? And what I heard was, I guess I was thinking about it on like, how can I make the world a better place? Or how can I affect change on something that I care about? What I heard you say was like, well, just go down to the kitchen and be good with your family and then go to work or wherever you're going and come from a place of that. And I think I was trying to force the first one into this. Like,
Right.
if you don't have, if you do have a thing you want to do, go after it with that responsibility and with that sense of that we're talking about. If you don't, just be in your day and live your life also understanding the same thing and sort of see what comes up. That's sort of what I heard in what you were, or read between the lines of what you were saying.
Well, it's like, yeah. What sort of popped in as you were talking is that maybe responsibility is not the right word.
Okay.
Maybe privilege to is the right is an alternative.
Okay.
Right? Maybe because responsibility has that sort of hardworking kind of, I don't know, got to do it kind of vibe to it, right? And maybe it's more of a privilege that we're here. And maybe it's just a fact. I mean, to me, it's a fact. We create our experience. We do it from the inside out. We do it by paying attention to any given thoughts in a moment. And
Right. We don't have to add a judgment to that,
No.
whether good or bad.
no. So I think, I mean, for me, like I said, the fear part just, it emerged after a few months when, the clouds had parted. And then, 8 months later, life like smacked me in the face with something. It's like, oh shit, okay, still here.
Right,
I
yeah.
haven't actually transcended anything. It's just, I see things differently. And as I saw things differently, my creation was different. And then, so I had that fall from grace, came back to reality, fell back into what I thought previously was reality. And somewhere in that contrast, somewhere in the coming to see it, and then being reminded that that I had seen something different. So that juxtaposition of how things had always been, how they look now, and how they sometimes fluctuate between the two, was this awareness, this awakening to, it's kind of scary to have all that agency.
Right.
Right. So I know I'm sort of repeating myself, but I think that. I think it's easy to have an out. I think it's easier to live when you have something else to point at other than yourself.
Yes, sure.
Right.
Yeah, I'm suffering because
Yeah,
ABC. Yeah,
yeah. Now it isn't actually. It's actually much harder to live that way
because you're suffering. Yeah,
because you're suffering. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So coming to this realization that I am the cause of my suffering is maybe that's the best articulation of it that I have. Is it's like, yeah, that's scary when you only have yourself to blame. So you're suffering right now. And why are you suffering right now? Oh, because of something that I'm attending to in my thinking. It's so much easier to say, well, it's your fault.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, very easy. Yeah.
It's simple. It abdicates. I mean, it abdicates control, power, the privilege of creating your own experience. Like it gives up so much, and but it on the surface it makes life seem so easy. Well, I'm justified in feeling like this right now. I'm justified in my actions. My boss is clearly an asshole, and I'm behaving. If he was different, then I would be different.
Yeah, the sense that life is happening to you.
Precisely. Yeah. It's happening to me. It's not happening within me.
Right.
Right.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like it's happening to me. Oh, well, if life is just happening to me, then of course it's not my fault.
Yeah, what can I do about it? It's happening. Yeah,
exactly right. It's being imposed. So the thing that dropped away, and I don't remember if I've probably articulated this elsewhere, if not here already, is that victim drops away, man.
Yeah,
there's just no room to be a victim anymore. Oh shit! I mean, you can try. Oh, you haven't done that. Oh, shit, still my fault. And fault is not the right language for that, right? And being a little glib, but it's like. I can't blame the world for how I feel. Like I have friends of mine that, pretty committed to this idea that the world right now is pretty toxic. And it may or may not be. It's not for me to judge, but I do not see it that way.
Yeah.
Because I don't it's not Pollyanna syndrome. It's not that I'm not aware of what's happening in the world and that bad things they're happening. But am I going to let that be the catalyst for how I am and how I express myself in the world? It's like, no. You get sucked down into, I am the way that I am, or I'm stressed out right now, or if you're consuming news a lot. I mean, I think everyone out there, especially these days, notices the difference between when they're consuming a ton of news and when they're not consuming a ton of news. And as you consume that news, as you make that your reality, I mean, it doesn't take much to notice the impact of that.
Right. It starts with...
And you can consume the news and be aware of what's going on without letting it make your experience something.
Yeah. I think there's something about, like, if you see evidence of, every rich person and everyone in power is acting in their own self-interest. I'm not saying that's true, but you could easily see that.
Sure, yeah.
Like, well, if they're doing that, then that's what I should do too.
Oh, and it makes right.
Yeah. So I'll act in my own self. Why would, if they're going to do it, then so should I. And what you're missing is all of the incredible acts of community and charity that are going on around you that other people, that doesn't make it to the news. But there are a lot of people operating in a different way. And if you ask yourself, like, you're not acting in this example, you're not acting in your own self-interest because you decided when you woke up that was how you were going to be. What you're doing is saying, oh, because of that, then I'll be like this. When if someone had asked you, how do you want to be in the world? Like, oh, we should have a greater sense of community. We should support each other. We should, help those less fortunate. Yeah. Like, that's the way most of us would say we want it to be. But you look at evidence that other people aren't, and now you're playing their game, and it's
their game.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like it.
It's that whole, the greatest trick the devil played was convincing people he didn't exist, right? Like, you're acting in a way that you would define as being horrible, but you kind of forgot the horrible part, or maybe just decided not to pay attention to that part. I don't know. There's something there about the responsibility and the victim thing. We don't think about it that way.
I think we have a choice in how we show up in the world, right?
Yes.
And I think that's pretty cool that we have that choice, regardless of what's happening over there or over here. We still have a choice in how we show up, and that's liberating. There's just there's a freedom that it's funny. So after the initial, like, holy shit, I'm making it up, and it's my, so for me, I do this very quickly. Like 40 some odd years of like, oh really? I've been doing this to myself. Like, oh, bummer, man.
Right.
It was also really funny, and it was also terrifying. And then stepping into this new awareness that I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Right. That burden of responsibility, and that's not the right way to articulate it because it is liberating. It is freeing. It is quite amazing, and it's scary. Right? Like, yeah, again, just I can't play the victim card. I can't blame the world. I can't it's me.
So
Tough nuts, man.
Yeah, right. So going back to my question, first question about
lost the plot
fear.
there for a second.
No, I don't think so.
No.
The fear that comes from that responsibility is just that I'm going to do something wrong. So if the world is happening to me, then I can't make a mistake because I'm just the recipient of the world.
Right.
Once I'm the one acting,
once you have that agency, yeah.
So
see, that's interesting though. Can you get it wrong?
Well, that's sort of where I was going was what I think I would say if you are, like we were talking about before, if you're consuming news and decide everybody's acting in their own self-interest and then you act in your self-interest, I don't know if wrong is the right word, but you're probably not acting to your highest potential or even what you yourself would agree you wanted to be aligned to or something. But going back to one of our first podcasts, I think, where we talked about like feelings as a GPS.
Yeah.
So if you have an idea or an impulse to do something, if that feels good, like we all know what that feels like. To like, I'm going to do something nice to someone, right? I'm not going to insult this person. I'm going to buy them a coffee or give them a compliment or whatever. Like, call your mom. Yeah. That feels good. And I think orienting yourself to like paying attention to that feeling, orienting yourself to that and acting from that place. Yeah. Then I would say it's pretty difficult to make a mistake. Well, mistake's maybe not the right word. Like in the moment you were making the right choice for yourself. And
it looks like, I think it often looks like we have to get it right.
Yes.
There's some aspect of us that's wired to like, I got to get it right. And I think that when we begin to see ourselves more as agents of creation, getting it right, the impact somehow lessens. Like where do you think you need to get it right from? Well, from your personal thinking, from your psychology that says there's a right and a wrong.
Right.
If you're living as a creator, as a creative force, then you can create this, and if that doesn't feel good, you create something else. So every creation has implicit guidance in it. So you're going to create something, and right away you're going to get real-time feedback. Right. So coming back to that idea of that there's a lesson to be learned, if you fold the GPS into that, I create the idea that I gotta stop using my wife as an example. I create some idea, and as I create it in real time, I think this and I pay attention to it, and whatever it is expresses itself in real time as an experience, as a creation in the world. Well, the feedback that I get from that instant creation is just as fast.
Yeah.
So I create it instantly, and I get feedback instantly. So if it doesn't feel good, no problem. I can orient differently.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't feel good, I can orient differently. So every creation sort of levels up as it brings clarity. So getting it wrong is kind of only if you don't get anything from it, right? Like you kind of
if you don't learn anything from it,
yeah. And so I create something, it doesn't feel good. Awesome. Now I create something again. Well, that feels a little better. Okay. And then I create something, and now that doesn't feel good. So there's this multiplicity of creation, feeling, feedback, more clarity, creation, feedback, more clarity, right?
I thought of, while you were talking, what I thought of was like, we think everything is a test, which is something like you take a math test.
Right.
It is a thing you do, and then you get it right or you get it wrong, and then it's done, but what it really is like art. Like you draw a picture and like the nose on your person is messed up.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
well,
You're constantly tweaking and refining.
yeah, you'll make another picture or you'll erase it and try again. And yeah, so it's constantly building on itself. There's no like that nose is wrong. It's just you have the ability to make a different one next time based on the feedback you got. So it's it's the sort of creative rather than I don't know, mathematical.
Well, I think it's
way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a distinction just between there's more gray. Nothing.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Black and white is it's there's more room to color. I'm trying to stay with the picture thing.
Yeah.
Like you can.
Well, there's an unfolding of it. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
a.
a nice
It's
way-
not a
that's a nice way
final
of putting it,
thing.
yeah.
That's sort of what I was thinking about.
Nothing's ever complete, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's. Yeah, I remember hearing a long time ago, like when a missile is launched, like it doesn't go straight; it veers
Right.
off course and then gets corrected and then overcorrects.
Right.
It's
A
constantly.
terrible example in this day.
Yeah, I know.
I get your point. Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
Me driving in the lines, like I don't know. I mean, it feels like that sometimes. But yeah, most.
It's just calibration, recalibration, clarity.
Exactly.
Or maybe
yeah.
that. I don't know if that's the word,
and,
but it's feedback, right?
Yeah, I shouldn't use the missile. It's.
So, I think the fear enters into it when we're stuck in our personal thinking, when we're stuck in our psychology, and we got to get it right.
Yeah.
So there's this like. So I think we're talking about two different things a little bit now. So there's this awakening to the fact that we are creative agents, we create our experience, and that has its own fear. I would say that for me quickly transcended from fear into excitement.
Okay.
Right? Oh.
I get to. Right.
I get to. Yeah. Whatever. And I get to have the consequences, or I get the feedback of whatever it is I create.
Right.
And then there's that fear of getting something wrong. So I think those things, like those, on the one hand, when you're talking sort of from a creative perspective, stepping into that responsibility that it's up to you, you're making this up, what you get, what you reap is what you sow, all that kind of stuff. Oh, shit, right? Okay, that's on me. That's a little scary at first. But I think the fear aspect of it enters into it when we're, from our personal thinking, when we've got to get it right. When we're treating it as something that's hard and fast, check mark or no check mark. Whereas the other is like, I don't know, it's gentler. It meanders, like if there's hockey fans, right? If I'm shooting at the top left corner and I miss, okay, then I change something and I shoot again and I miss and I keep tweaking until there's an alignment. And then from that place of alignment, things just tend to express themselves. It's kind of like narrowing or zeroing in on it. And so getting it wrong from the perspective of a creator, there's no such thing. Right? Because all you're doing is bringing yourself towards alignment.
Okay.
Does that make sense? That feels close to me. I'm trying to talk from my own experience, right?
What we're talking about, like where we're acting from, that definitely aligns. It's a good reminder to just act from. It's all about where you're acting from, and if you can feel aligned and feel good, then don't worry about kind of the outcome so much. You're making the right move at the right time, and you'll learn from it.
You're doing the best that you can in any given moment, and you're going to get feedback that's going to help you, raise the elevator just a little bit better. So the next choice maybe comes from a slightly more informed or a better feeling place, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a continuation or just continued calibration. Excuse me.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll wrap up there. I may have a follow-up question. Something about, part of my question about fear was more around fear of like limiting beliefs, I think.
Right.
So maybe we'll explore that on another one. It feels different than what we talked about today, but I think this was a good first step.
All right. I look forward to that.
Any takeaways for people?
Fear isn't real.
Okay.
See how that lands for you. Fear is a word that we use to describe an experience that we're having that we prefer to have less of. It doesn't really mean anything beyond that.
Okay.
It's just a descriptor.
Right.
It's not something to be afraid of. My favorite Sid quote, we could end here. If the only thing people learned was to not fear their experience, that alone would change the world. Fear is not something to be feared. It's feedback. That's
Right.
it.
Go think about that, everyone.
All right, see you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.